I'm on to the last few jobs of my Ford Focus. One of them was to change the brake discs on here. What, my mate Nick in England was right. What a mess getting the bolts out. I think they're supposed to be 14mm or whatever, but I ended up banging a 9/16 or the other way around, I can't remember. But they were a mess. Now you might be able to see down here, I've got this funky gizmo. Got this off Temu. And there's two either side. What you're supposed to do is bolt them onto the nuts here, and then by using two tape measures, because you've got one at the other side, you can work out the alignment, well, the tracking. There's nothing to adjust on this car for caster and camber. Well, I don't think there is anyway, because it's just bolt on with the subframe. Now, yeah, so I've just clamped it to the disc and see if it works. And well, I set it up in my own special way, and I managed to get it absolutely parallel. What I do is a very, very simple, rudimentary idea. These are door seal holders for a Series 2A or 3, and they're nice and straight and parallel because they've been pressed, and I've eyeballed them up and they look straight. So I've got one tied onto the wheel at that side, and one tied onto the wheel at that side. It doesn't really matter how high they are, but you need to get your tape measure under the car to measure it. So in theory, the inflation on here should be the same as the other side. Theory, because there's no weight on the car. Anyway, this is only a rough way to do it before it goes for an actual alignment. But by measuring the front and then the back, you can actually see the toe in and toe out of the wheel. Now what I do is I attach some metal bar to the wheel and tie wrap it to the tyre so at the same place, and then do the similar idea, measuring it. It's a bit of a faff around, I must admit. It's easy with two, but I was quite pleased I got it like this, so I'm going to leave it. I have a problem with this car with the tyre pressure sensors. Crappy ideas. So I've just bought a dedicated OBD2 reader to go onto a laptop so I can get into the computer and delete the whole system so it can't see it anymore, because it's the stupidest thing. No matter what you do, you never get it right. And besides that, I know when my tyres are flat. You know, I'm not stupid. So anyway, that's that done. But like I said, this little kit here, I was going to send it back because it doesn't fit. But will it fit on a Land Rover? Because that's really why I bought it. The problem with it is, as you can probably see here, I haven't got enough room to get my camera in, but you're supposed to bolt it onto the nuts here, or you know, nut here and the nut here at the bottom. But there's a difference between the flange face here and the calipers sticking out too far. Now, on a Defender, that might be different. So I'm just going to let this car down a little bit because I've left the keys in the ignition. I'm changing the oil at the same time, so all my little jobs are all mounting up, and then we're good to go. So I'm just going to go and get my keys, go in the container and have a look for a wheel hub. So, will this funky gizmo fit on a Defender? Remember, the disc goes in from the back, and sort of, if those little peaks there were rounded off, yes, it would fit. And you know, it fits on this face. Well, this is an old scrap unit, but yours will be nice and clean. And then you could use that on your Land Rover, because that's all you ever need to do is you toe in and toe out. So what other things I get off Temu? Things. They come in 90 degrees as well. What the for? Getting plugs off. See, we've all seen plugs like this. So you press down on the tang and it lifts up inside, and then because it's got a serrated end there, you can pull the plugs off. I'm having a bit of a struggle now in my old age trying to get these off, because I haven't got much strength left in my fingers to push that little tang down, so they're going to be handy. I can't remember how much they were, about $20 or something like that. Now another thing I got to do with my Ford, which I bitterly regret, was a tool to get the tie rod ends off. Now these tie rod ends obviously go on a steering rack, and as you can see there's got a series of flats on them, but you can't really put a spanner on them. Like I said, they came in the kit, and the tie rods themselves are so rusty I just chopped through them with a chop saw and then binned them and put the new ones on. But I got this little device from Vevor, Las Vegas I think, and it's supposed to be a tool. Yeah, it comes in a nice box, a nice kit, but which one was it now? That's it, it's a Ford, so it'll be in inches. So the idea is a crowfoot usually has a little 1/2 inch square on here, but by design they're very thin, so if these are tight they'll splay open. So what this is supposed to do, you're supposed to push this over the existing tie rod and then put this on the tie rod, push it over the end and lock it into place. Alright? But there's a defect with it. You see, you can get one side in, there, you can't get the other side in. And trying to do this inside the car and, you know, trying to get it on the subframe and stuff like that, almost impossible. So after a week of backwards and forwards, they gave me $20 back and said keep the tool. I can modify it, but I think it's a really bad idea. Because like I said, when you're inside you've got to slip that over to stop that coming off. Not a good idea. And it's 1/2 inch drive. I'll think of something I could use it for. But as a tie rod end tool, not all that good. So I did get something else, but I put it down somewhere. I can't remember where I put it. So I knew there was something else I forgot. I got 2 of these little things here that were like $2.80 a piece. That's why I bought the other stuff, because minimum order was $20. But they're really handy because they're a little voltmeter and they're outputs. So you've got standard USB fittings, different amperages, and down here you've got 2 USB-Cs. So why did I get 2? Well, the Ford outside has got 2 outlets in the bottom dash, but unfortunately both are actually live when the key's out. So what I did was I found the main fuse box, and using a jumper wire and a fuse, I linked one to an ignition switch off thing. So I've got one that's permanently live and one that's switched. Why? Because I've got one of those thinkware dash cams, and for some reason it's draining my battery and I can't work out why. We'll come on to that later. Back to the video. But yeah, so that's tools done, the focus is done. The only thing I've got to do now is take that traction control, there's so many bloody acronyms. The tyre pressure sensor, just deactivate it so it's not reading it, because it's really annoying, because what it does is it now flashes the interior light saying it wants recoding. Oh, I can't cope with that messing about, so I'll just deactivate it. I'll probably show you how to do that later. But that's it so far this week. See ya.